came to Marlboro County in in the event because we had Storm Debbie. Storm Debbie, like any other flooding and things like that, left an impact in Marlboro County. But we had several volunteers, not just one, but we had county officials coming out with preparedness. We had city members coming out. We had other community volunteers. We had EMS staff, but we had a lot of people with that preparedness portion of it, trying to get us ready for Debbie. But I would like to say that there was several other people, and I just know that I have to recognize who Red Cross recognized. Red Cross has, the American Red Cross has taken this time to recognize Miss Betty Jo Quick. Thank you for your selflessness, for your support and collaboration with American Red Cross to help people impacted by the Hurricane Debbie. Our dedicated volunteers have been able to deliver vital relief to individuals and families during this devastating storm. Hurricane Debbie's path covered some over 1,300 miles in the United States with flooding homes, creating dangerous conditions, power, and all of those things. But in order to finish it up, just want to say that Betty Jo, I'm grateful for your commitment to people affected by Hurricane Debbie. Together we are turning heartbeats into hope. And this is sincerely from Audrey H. Erdeman, Community Engagement and Partnership Manager of the Disaster Response number 159 of the American Red Cross. So thank you for being the boots on the ground in Marlboro County. Thank you for all that you do, and congratulations, Mr. Chair. If the members of the council would like to participate in the picture, it's okay. So thank you so very much for all the community support.
Next on the agenda, we have executive discussion of executive economic development, contractual and personal matters. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Okay. We'll be adjourned for a little while for executive session. And get your popcorn and come back. We'll wait a minute.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the town McCall request for $75,000 for the purposes stated.
Second.
Any more discussions? All in favor? Okay. Ordinance number 852, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and the project Pinky Promise to provide for payment of a fee in lieu of taxes, authorizing certain infrastructure, credits, and other related matter. Second reading.
This project is one of the expansions that we're looking at, and again, you know, that's about as far as we can go into that, but it's one of our expansions that we're doing right here in the county for our existing industry.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 852.
Second.
Any discussions? Show of hands, all in favor?
I just abstain at this point.
Okay. We have one abstain. Ordinance number 853, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and the project Pound Cake to provide for payment of fee in lieu of taxes, authorizing certain infrastructure credits, and other related matters. Second reading.
Again, this is another one of our expansion projects from an industry right here in Marlboro County. That's as far as I can go with that explanation.
Motion that we approve ordinance 853.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor? Unanimous. Ordinance number 854, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and Project Powerball to provide for payment of fee in lieu of taxes, authorize certain infrastructure credits, and other related matters. Second reading.
Again, this is the third of our 3 expansions that we discussed in our last meeting, and again, it's one of existing industries right here in Marlboro County.
Move ordinance 854, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Thank you. Unanimous. New business. Ordinance of approval of transfer of funds of Marlboro County Economic Development Corporation for purpose of introducing investment in the county.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we table ordinance 849.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor for tabling out on 849? Unanimous. Ordinance number 855, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and the Project Bingo to provide for payment of fee in lieu of taxes, authorizing certain infrastructure credits, and other related matters. First reading, title only.
So this is another expansion. As you can tell, our economic development director has worked very hard with our existing industries to make sure that they are getting the things that they need and they're successful. So that's why we have so many expansions coming in Marlboro County with some of our existing industries. So that's just the fourth, actually, when you added the other three.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 855.
Got a motion? Got a second? All in favor? Ordinance number 856, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Marlboro County, South Carolina, and Camouflage to provide for payment of fee in lieu of taxes, authorize certain infrastructure credits, and other related matters. First reading.
Yet another industry right here in Marlboro County that is looking at expansion.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve ordinance 856.
Second.
Any discussion? Show of hands. Unanimous. Resolution number 082401, approval and authorization by the county council for the county to enter into a memorandum of understanding as a county commitment to certain solar project in the county.
So this is, the certain solar project is one that we agreed on last calendar year. And this is what we agreed to look at the solar ordinance. And so what the county has done, we've kind of left it in the hands of the board, the zoning board. But the zoning board has already said that this project is something that they were okay with. They just want to know and at least get from the council some sort of resolution saying that you're in favor of the project. We've already given the three readings, we've already done everything, and just to give them the confidence, because they had to come spend millions of dollars to come into the county and to actually prepare for the project. This is a solar project, but what they want to know is to make sure that the council at least says, hey, we agree with the project, we've already voted on it, we've already approved it, we've already approved the fee in lieu agreement. Show some approval by at least saying that, hey, you're in approval with this project being able to operate under the current ordinance that you already approved as well. Remember, we actually approved the fee in lieu and we redid the ordinance the way that it would actually work for the citizens of Marlboro County. You know, we had some questions about it, but we redid it. We did everything that and kept it strong like it should have been. And we just want the council to say, hey, we do approve this project and we would like for that project to move forward.
Is this going to the zoning
Yes.
board, as you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I will tell you, we spoke to the zoning board when we met with them, and then they're fine
Correct.
with it. This is just for the company to feel more comfortable. And you gotta understand, some of these companies, they come in, and it has happened in the past, they'll come in and spend $20–30 million to do things, groundwork and electrical work, and then when it gets to the point of going in front of the zoning board, they just kill it. But our zoning board is not doing that, but they still want some kind of, we can't tell them that we're gonna tell the zoning board what to do, because you know that's not legal, but we can at least say to the zoning board, we do support this project. It's something that we voted on already and everything.
Don't we appoint the members of the zoning board?
Excuse me?
Don't we appoint?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I'll make that comment later, but that was one of the things I have on my thing about the
Right.
zoning board. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve resolution 82401.
I get a second?
Second.
Okay, so move. Any more discussion? Let's show of hands. Okay, move on. E, authorize the reallocation of the funds from the Broad Street project, Boardwalk project, and excess of golf course renovation fund to the Aquatic Center project in the appropriate amount of $1,090,000 as follows. Broad Street project, $350,000. Boardwalk project, $340,000, and golf course renovation excess fund of $400,000.
So this is, you know, we bring this in front of the entire group. We talked about it in our meeting earlier this week. We do have some funds available to complete the aquatic center, and those funds are in amount of $1.15 million that's already allocated. And the project is looking at right around 1.9 to 2 million with some contingencies. And this is not just something that came from me or from Dusa. The whole council was here, or at least a good bit of council was here when they gave us an indication that they said 1.8 million. We had 2.1 million that we would say want to stay within, but 1.8 million dollars was what we asked them to stay within, and they said they would do that. The prices came back a little bit more, and you know it's been almost a year, and so the prices are going up, as we all know, and so it was a little bit more. And then there's some contingencies in there as well. Now, we are looking that if we have to, we don't want to scale back. We want to keep the project where it is. We don't want to just put a watering hole out there. We want a swimming pool, the zero entry, and the splash pad. We want all of those and the slide. We want those things. It's not a water park, but it is an aquatic center. Now, we do know that the lake is scheduled to be fixed. However, even if they get the funds, start right now, budgeting for the first phase, budgeting second phase, it could be 3 years before the citizens have anywhere to swim publicly in Marlboro County. And so that's why we were looking at doing what we can to make sure that we can complete this project. And it's up to the council, you know. Look, we do have these funds. If we don't reallocate them, we are going to lose some of these funds without reallocation. And so we need to make a decision on what projects we're going to reallocate from. And this is the projects we came up with.
Okay, thanks,
Now,
sir.
if you want to, Wes, are you prepared to speak on the actual funding part? Because some of this funding, you know, we talked about this earlier. There was some money allocated. I think it's supposed to be around $2 million or something like that. And that does predate me with the last budget, the end of the last budget that was passed right before I got here with some of the allocation. But Wes can probably expand on that a little bit more.
The $2 million from the funding from the legislative delegation, which actually came from PRT. $1,150,000 of that was clearly identified to go to the aquatic center. $350,000 for Broad Street was also connected with the funding for the legislative delegation. So that ends up being, you know, $1.5 million. And then, you know, the other $500,000, assuming we get the award from Lindsay on the Lindsay Park project, that will be used to do that project, do that upgrade. So the funding is, and then of course we've got the, you know, the boardwalk project, and then the, you know, golf course renovations. So the golf course renovations are part of the ARPA funds. So, and I guess you've had that discussion.
So I have had a discussion with Mr. Dusa about the golf course, and what he expressed to me, and he's expressed this ever since last week, that he needs about another $150,000 to complete the things that are vital right now. Now, the money for the irrigation that we talked about, that's already done. That's already taken care of. That's not a part of this. There's about, if we take $400,000 from that, that will leave him the money to do the golf cart path, part of that renovation, the vital part of that, and then some resurfacing of the parking lot. And so that's what he really wanted the most. And he also looked at, you know, with the old pool, that removal. Now, he expressed to me that that was really something that was kind of getting in the way, a real eyesore, and he really wanted that to be done, that old pool, because that was supposed to be part of the event lawn. But doing that, we would have to start that aquatic center, because a lot of the filler for that comes from what we take for the aquatic center and put in there, and that makes it easy to start that. So that's why one of the reasons why he was willing to say, you know what, if we can take the $400,000 and put it towards that, then later on, you know, when we come up with more funding, then we'll be able to do some of the things with the golf course later, because that does help him in a way with the golf course and that, and that event lawn that he wants out there. So that's why he's willing to take some of that money from the golf course renovation, some of the excess, and put it towards the aquatic center.
Mr. Chairman, based on that explanation from Mr. Clyburn and Mr. Parks, I make a motion that we approve the reallocation of the funds from the Broad Street project, Boardwalk project, and the excess golf court renovation fund to go towards the aquatic center.
I got a discussion.
Question.
As soon as we get a second motion, I'll get your discussion in. Go ahead. Got a second? Do I have a second? Okay, I got a second. Now, discussion. Mr. Misley, you got the floor.
No, you go.
Ladies first.
Okay. I just want to be clear that I am in favor of making sure those funds be used, because I know by December 23rd,
Yes.
if we don't, we have to do something. And that was from that building, the old bingo building.
Right, and so
And
I
I just want
Go
to
ahead.
finish,
Go ahead.
please. I just want to be clear that because we're moving those funds, that we're not going to give up on the fact that nothing is ever going to go in that building for recreation. I've always, that's been a sore for me, the fact that we just put it out, we put most of the ARPA money in that golf course. We really did. We really put most of those funds into that golf course. And I'm not going to quibble about that because I wasn't a part of that decision at that time. But since I'm a part of this decision now, I just want to, maybe that's going to be other projects or grants or whatever, but we do need some, what we call adequate recreation, more than just golf. All of us do not play golf. And I just want to that's why I'm particularly interested in making sure that we find some grant monies, funds, or whatever to make sure that that building is not just going to be an eyesore to stand up there, used for an animal shelter. I don't want to just pretend I'm okay with that.
So, as I explained in the meeting we had this week, we do have plans to continue using that for recreation. That was never taken off the table, using it for recreation. That's one of the main goals of a lot of the things I brought to council. That's one of the things when we had our work session back in last October. That's one of the things that we talked about. Even Mr. Steen, we agreed that if it's going to be done, it needs to be done so the building looks new. If you're going to do it right. We've always and never wavered from, and I want the public to know this, never wavered from using that building for recreation in the form of recreation department and bowling alley. That's something that we've always said we want to do, well, since I've been here. So some of that other discussion does predate me as well. But since I've been here, it's been recreation department, bowling alley, and we were trying to get other funds to make that happen. Because even with the $350,000, we couldn't do that right now anyway with that. And it would not be sufficient to do either one of those things. We would need other outside funding for that. So, yes, I
just want to
agree.
go back on the record with that.
Yeah, on the record publicly, that is the plan to use it for recreation. And of course, it's up to council ultimately, but that is my plan. I've always had to use that building for recreation.
Mr. Misley.
Hey, okay, so I don't like how the motion is set where all of that money goes. Personally, I can understand tabling or warehousing the Broad Street project because we're going to need more money on that. But the Boardwalk project, I've got a statement from Sonny Blair, the chairman of the Lake Authority, I'd like to read. He says, I understand their discussion about the possibility of reallocating the funds for this project because of the current situation with the lake. Please know that the Lake Authority has not changed course with the design and ultimate construction of the boardwalk. The walking trail is not impacted by the dam breach and will continue to be open for our citizens to utilize. As a matter of fact, with the fishing side being lowered, we expect construction costs to be less. On behalf of the Lake Authority, I'm asking council to leave the funds in place so we may bring this project to fruition. We have proceeded in good faith and spent thousands of dollars on permitting and engineering costs. We are weeks away from bidding. Again, I respectfully ask council to remain engaged with the Lake Paul Wallace Authority to ensure we can add this beneficial boardwalk to Lake Wallace. And I do believe if we shut that project down, it's going to be that much longer again to get that thing kicked back in, and it's going to be that much more expensive. We got so much stuff already, we just can't scrap 3 projects on a new thing, and we don't even know what the cost is going to be. I mean, I haven't seen what the cost is going to be on the new pool. I mean, we haven't seen the schematics or anything of that sort. But,
Did Mr. Blair present any information about what the estimated cost? Because I know the last time we discussed, they lowered their cost or their contribution from what we originally established. Did he give any information on?
no, that was the only statement I got. So,
And
Mr. Blair.
The only information that I received from Mr. Blair was they're looking at the price to be a little lower, and he did ask a request that they'll give it bid it out, and I made a comment to him, so you know, it's been 2 years, we haven't heard anything, the council haven't, of your progress, you know, what been going on. Anyway, he did ask a request that if we will hold back on this, the boardwalk project until after the bid come in. If the bid come in higher, he has no problem for us to add it to the aquatic center. And if it come in lower, you know, could we use some of that funds? And I told him that we would let it, you know, I tell the council, and then we'll go from there. But like I say, we don't, even with the boardwalk, we don't know exactly what the dollar amount is. He said they're gonna bid it out in the next couple of weeks, but you know, we heard that before also. You know, so it is like I said, the $340,000 and the $350,000 together we can do a lot of things. Separate we can do nothing. You know, I don't know how much, like I said, Dr. Johnson, they took away X amount of dollars from the boardwalk, but we don't know how much they took away from their part of the pie. You know, did he tell you the amount that they take away, the Lake Authority?
No.
my thing is this, and I'm gonna say that common sense has to come in at some point. This lake is breached right now. We don't have a Lake Paul Wallace. If you do the testing, it's gonna take you a year or more to even get the results back for the test, and then you got to get the engineers out there to do the work. So you're looking at 2 or 3, maybe 4 years before any work is even started. By those times, these funds would have dried up. They would have dried up. Yeah, you can go out there, you can build a mansion on a creek. I guess that's what it would be out there. You can build a mansion out there, but it's not feasible for the citizens of Marlboro County to just let those funds disappear when we can allocate those funds into something that everybody can use in all areas. And once again, just like the project on Broad Street, we're not abandoning the Broad Street project. That's not what I don't think that's not what the vote is. The vote is to reallocate those funds for now, and later as things progress, we can pick back up on the Broad Street project or on the boardwalk project. You know, but we have to make good, sound decisions on this money before it disappears right out of our hands. Just like it fell out the tree, it can just disappear, just like that. So we have to really be prudent, but still be, you know, precise in what we do.
Yeah, I'm like Charles. I'm concerned about projects that we've already voted on, that we're going to take these 3 projects and basically we are scuttling them. The boardwalk project, you've gotten a letter from the Lake Authority. I think it's self-explanatory. The $400,000 pulling out of the golf and the recreation complex. I mean, I know there's part of that money that's set aside. There's a lot of bunker work and some other stuff that's got to be done. That's been discussed by the pro. And the pool, that's another thing, you know. We're talking about maybe possibly $1.8 million. We're not even sure what that pool's gonna cost. It could be $2.5 million now. And even if we took these funds, we could still be $500,000 short and still could never start the pool. And these funds, Wes, correct me if I'm wrong, this is ARS funds that are good until the end of 2025, right?
We've got a couple different elements, because legislative delegation about it. And I do a report back to the legislature every June. And so this is the second year I've actually done the report. The funds were provided to us in January of '23. The expectation is that it would be complete in 3 years. So you're looking at, there again, you need to be able to complete this by the end of, that would be 2026 or 2025.
That's what I was thinking.
I agree. We put a lot of money into the golf and recreational complex. A lot of that, we probably looking at 3 or 4, up to $5 million that we put into the golf course. Us reallocating this money does not mean that we're abandoning these projects. It means that the most immediate attention, could be the aquatic center because we can, reallocate that money and use it. So I'm in agreement that we don't need to lose this money for, lack of action. Our legislative delegation delivered that $2 million to us with the expectation that we're going to use it for Marlboro County. And I think this aquatic center is something that everybody in Marlboro County would be able to use. Everybody can walk around the golf, but from the zero entry into, whatever the Olympic side, a mass amount of the community can be able to use the aquatic center, especially with the lake being out of commission. I think it'll behoove us, to be smart about this right here and allocate this money with the expectation that we are going to, because I think the boardwalk project is going to be a hit. If it wasn't for the lake being breached and that situation, I'll be all for leaving that money. But where we are right now, I think it is a smart decision to reallocate that money and pick up those other projects at a future date.
I do want to add something about, you mentioned the price, and you mentioned the price of the aquatic center. No, we don't know the exact price is going to come back for bid right now, but the estimates we've been given is between 1.9 and 2.5 million, and that's with contingency. So, contingencies don't always, you don't always use those contingencies, but that, again, if necessary, there's certain things we can make a little bit smaller. We want to make it a hole in the ground. We want to keep it a pool, but there's some things we can get a little smaller on and some adjustments we can make. And no, we don't know the exact cost, but we don't know the exact cost of the boardwalk either, and of the Broad Street project. None of these, even with the golf project, with the golf renovations, those are all estimates as well. So none of these things, because we all know how construction and contracting work goes. You just don't know the cost of these things until you really get into it. And if I try to give you a cost, and then I'll be coming back a little bit later saying there was a change order and that kind of thing, and I'm not going to mislead you. Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. We don't know the cost of it, but we do have a range right now, and even that range can be brought down some. I haven't heard back from them in the last. I just sent them back something. Hey, we got to get this thing to 2.2, with everything, and I haven't heard back from them. It may take out one of the Olympic lanes. It may take back a little bit of the splash pad thing. It may take zero entry away. But we're going to try to get it to where it makes sense and it's still a viable project that people will enjoy. That's the main thing. We're not going to have any public water swimming for the next few years, because even with the lake, with the fishing side, they say the fishing side isn't quite as affected, and I agree with that. There is some water there. They had to lower it because the walking trail serves as a wall to that side. So because of the water pressure, they had to lower it some, so it's not really boating anymore because it's so low. But even with that, we know that the swimming side, that's the last part that will be fixed. We know that won't be fixed for some years. Even if they move right now, that dam, we know it won't be fixed for years. So that's why, that was the justification and the thought process behind, we had to give some of the citizens somewhere to swim. And yes, some people do have swimming pools in their backyards, but most people don't. And most people in Marlboro County don't have anything close to a swimming pool in the backyard. And that would be their swimming pool. I'm talking about old, young, rich, poor, black, white, whatever. Everybody can use that swimming pool. We have some programs we were looking at for the elderly when it comes to rehabilitation, some different classes. There are a lot of things. Swimming, we do have high drowning rates in this area of the state. We were looking at swimming classes, all kinds of things, along with just plain recreation. So that was the thinking of, hey, it's not that we're saying these projects aren't important, but we have to prioritize, because, I mean, there is a priority to be had when it comes to what are we going to do for the citizens. And I mean to interrupt you, Mr. Steen.
No, I was waiting for you to finish. Yeah, I know we talked about the aquatic center back, I don't know, 6-8 months ago. You know,
Yes.
about hiring a firm. So I think we have a firm hired, at least to move forward. So I think the next step would be is to get them to present us something what we need. We know the lake's gonna be down 2 or 3 years. There's no water attractions here whatsoever. So if we're gonna, the thing is, if you're gonna build it and you know what you're gonna need, I know we have to reallocate funds for a certain amount of time. The boardwalk project, golf course project, I think the state allocated the 1.15 for the aquatic center. Is that correct? And then the 350 for the Broad Street. And the 350 for the Broad Street. So
The 350, I'm sorry, it was actually for the boardwalk. So
350 was for the boardwalk.
Boardwalk, 1,150,000 for the aquatic center, and then $500,000.
okay, so it was not for the Broad. It was not for the Broad Street. Okay, so there's the number. I would like to at least see something, presented to us for council. Versus if it was going to take a portion of it, all of it, or whatever else, and that way we would have time to allocate one time instead of having to allocate and having to reallocate again and having to go back and forth. I would like to see. Let's go ahead and find us a full scale, get them to start submitting some plans, what we need, what we want. If it's 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, at least we'll know if we need to allocate. If it becomes a priority for that to take all the money and put in there, then we'll be able to do it. But we need to do it in a hurry because we have to allocate those funds at a
There's two
certain
reasons
time.
we need to do it in a hurry. Number one, we do need to reallocate. Number two, they have scheduled with their timeline in order to be ready for even the second half of the summer. They have to put everything to bid in fourth quarter, and that could be October. So we do need to make sure that if we're going to move forward, last month really is it for us to make sure. I'm going to be hearing back from them real soon.
And
it's
maybe
gonna be-
scheduling a special meeting might help.
And we may have to schedule a special
But
meeting.
we
Yeah, I would
requested the same thing from the boardwalk project. We needed schematics, we needed designs, we
Well,
needed
we're close
all
to
of
that.
those
I
things.
tell them 30 days and then we can make and I would be fine with 30 days and make a decision on all of it. That's me. I mean, that would tell you, the Broad Street project, it's, in order to do it, there's not enough money to do what you want on Broad Street.
And then we're waiting on the city
But
as far as the fire
boardwalk,
suppression
I mean,
system.
I was a big advocate. I mean, that was the thing that for different people to be able to fish, not just walk, be able to fish and have that. It's a different group of people that they don't have that. Golf course, we have spent a lot of money in it. It's done a lot of we've spent a lot of money in it. It's a nice facility. Other ones are closed down, so it should be generating revenue. State Park's going to close next year for a certain thing, but if there's excess funds out of that, I have no reason, I don't care about allocating, but I'd rather do it one time to find out what it's going to cost for this aquatic center. Then let's just find out what the top priority is. If we have to allocate it all, or if we allocate a portion of it, I'd rather do it one time than say, let's go here, then boardwalk comes, submits next month. I would say let's go 30 days and we can find out.
So the only issue we have is the money allocated towards the boardwalk. So no one said anything about the Broad Street and the excess golf money. So only we're concerned about is the boardwalk project.
I would like to see the line items that we are actually deleting off of the golf course, because we, in Recreation Center, what we did, we had, other than the contingency that we had in there was a line item, we had all of those funds.
Administrator has already spoken to the rec director, spoken to Mr. Deuce. He's okay with what he's given to our administrator. So if Mr. Deuce is okay with allocating that $400,000, and we're okay with deferring some of the other projects, I don't see the issue. It's not saying we're abandoning these projects, it's that we're reallocating money towards something that we know could be a definite, and that boardwalk project, it could be, even if we get information back, it still could be 2 years before they actually start construction on that project, because we don't know what's going to happen with the lake. We know for a fact that we've already had a groundbreaking for the aquatic center. We know for a fact that we've already hired a firm to be able to engage us. So I don't see the need to, continue to kick the can down the road when we've been kicking the can down the road for about 2 years now.
I got to agree with Jason though. I think, we walk in this meeting tonight and, most of us wasn't involved in the agenda meeting, and we're sitting here going, reallocate over $1 million from projects that we've already voted on. I think that, I don't have a bit of problem with waiting 30 days, and I do know that there is some stuff, as Shaw said, has been deleted off of the golf list in order to put this money in here. It's not actually excess money. We're actually deleting stuff that is, and we all know that the complex out there is definitely been a big plus because of the number of cars that are in that parking lot every day, and it is making money. But no, I'm like Jason. I think we ought to wait 30 days and let's talk about this one more time. And if we have to reallocate all of it to if they come up with a price on the pool, I would be fine with that. But just taking a guess at how much that pool's going to cost and just take this money and reallocate it. When we walked in this meeting tonight, this is the first any of us have heard about it, about reallocating over $1 million that we had already allocated for 3 different projects. So no, I've got to agree with Jason. I think wait 30 days and we need a special meeting to discuss it again.
Councilman Holder, we didn't have definitive information when we started on that golf complex either. I understand those concerns and I understand where you're coming from. The golf course being full of cars still does not negate the fact that very few people in Marlboro County benefit from the golf course. This is a project that I really do think that a high percentage of the population would benefit from. There's no question that the golf course is an attraction, but isn't an attraction to the mass amount of county than this particular project can be? I don't think so. I'll go out there. Have you been out there? Have you walked the golf course? Have you seen who's out there playing? The massive amount of people that would benefit from this aquatic centers project, will far exceed and probably will even enhance the experience at the golf and recreational complex as well. I don't see a need to have another meeting to discuss this issue when it's not like we're abandoning those projects, that we're reallocating. We've already have a firm that's giving us a range. We understand what our range is, 1.9 to 2.2, whatever the case that we've given them. We're in control of the process. If they come back with something that's saying it's 2.6, then okay, what do we need to scale? What do we need to do to get it to the range that's the money that's allocated? I don't think another meeting, I don't think 30 days is going to change the decision that this is the project we really need to move on, because we've had a groundbreaking already. We already engaged the citizens about this project. I don't think it needs to be kicked down the road for another 30 days. For what? I don't see the reason. If Mr. Blair comes back with some estimates about the boardwalk project, then we're looking at, okay, when can it begin? It might be 2026 when that project can begin. When we are here right now, we can reallocate these funds. And if that information comes back from Mr. Blair, then we'll have some more information to be able to go off of. But I don't think that project is going to be started within the next year. I don't think it's going to be completed within the next 2 years, but this project right here can be started and be completed by next summer, so our citizens will have a place to be able to have some water recreation.
One thing, excuse me for a second. We had a lot of people that spoke. I would like to hear from Mr. Blackman. If Councilman don't spoke on the matter, Mr. Blackman, can you share your opinion, please, sir?
Well, I'm in favor for the aquatic center. The only thing I would like to hear, Mr. Blair, Sully Blair come and talk to us and let us know what. In 2 weeks he's supposed to know. About 2 weeks he's supposed to know something. I think that there's no harm in waiting just a little bit longer, and I'm definitely not going to lose this money. If we got to put everything else in to get the aquatic center going, that's what I'm going to do. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with listening to. He's put a lot of time in it, in doing this and getting stuff together and all. I just don't want to take it from him just like this at a meeting tonight. At least let him come back and talk to us one more time about see what that is. And it may not work, probably won't, I don't know. But, you know, and if it doesn't, and before we lose the money, I'm wanting to put it all into aquatic and get something done. But I got no problem with waiting, you know, to the next meeting to do it.
Mr. Chairman, one second, I just want to add that, and it hasn't been mentioned, but part of the golf and recreation center was the putt-putt and in the pickleball thing. And that right there would bring in more revenue for what we got, and it'd be a lot less money to get that up and going and bring more money in, and then, I mean, I hate to kick anything down the road, and I really want that swimming pool. I mean, I love swimming pool, but I mean, that would be, I mean, that was part of that golf and recreation. Nobody's brought that up. But
And that can be done in phases. You're talking about revenue. I'm talking about access. The amount of people that's going to play pickleball versus the amount of people that would benefit from an aquatic center far outsees that. We're looking at stuff for our citizens, quality of life, stuff for the masses, not for a small group. And I understand all of that stuff needs to be, you know, completed and updated and all of those things. But we're looking at an opportunity that we can do something for a majority of our citizens in Marlboro County.
I guess the point I'm trying to make, the easy fruit on this thing would be put $100,000 extra of this money to the boardwalk. If we do that, that's not that much money. Put $50,000 for the putt-putt. I mean, and then, you know, you got a bigger bang for your buck, and you got more recreation. You're gonna have the walkway. You're gonna have putt-putt. You'll have pickleball. You know, for $300,000, rather than try the whole, you know, throw the baby out with bathwater and try to get that big enchilada. You know, another
Aren't you missing
1.1 million. Now I want a pool now, and
Aren't you missing the point of the time frame? Aren't you?
Mr. Clyburn,
That's the whole.
when do you
That's the
think
whole
we'll get a
thing.
price?
The time frame.
A quote. We think we
For
can get
the
it by
pool?
for the pool. Can we get it by
I've
next
been putting
meeting?
pressure on them for the past week, because I
Okay.
wanted to have something before I came to this meeting. I've been
Right.
putting pressure on them,
Right.
and just so much you can do with an engineering firm on getting that price, because they have to go to their firm to get price from them. Again, I don't want to overpromise and give you a date
Right.
that I can have that price, but it should be soon. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 1 week. But I
Our
will get
next
something
council
from them
meeting
very-
is September the what?
The
When's the
10th.
next council meeting? The 10th?
September 10th,
That 3 weeks? That 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
The thing for me is that we all know that this money is going to disappear. We all know that these other projects is years down the road. We all know that. I mean, and why would you even think about not reallocating the fund? Because if you're trying to add, we're not trying to say that we're trying to kill any project. We're trying to say, let's allocate these funds, get this project complete. And when those projects are ready, we'll probably be well off.
Well, let's see.
Fund it.
Let's see what the pool's going to cost.
Yeah.
And if we can throw all that money together and get the pool done, then I think everybody would probably help.
What is it about the pool that we have to see what it's going to cost? When we purchased the golf course, we didn't know how much that was going to cost. We stepped out on faith and said that if we purchase this golf course, that we can make money on it, and we can do this and we can do that, and we allocated millions of dollars towards it. That's what we did, not knowing the exact price, you know, because this the administrator has given us a range. He's given us the price. I mean, I don't know whether you want the exact schematic of it and the exact cost of it. I don't know what it is that you're asking for that we've never asked for any other project that we've done.
Well, this is what. So we had $2.1 million. And, they came in and they said they'd put in, if I might be wrong on the numbers, but they said they'd put in a pool for $2.1 million. We told them to
Where-
to
where-
go do
where-
it,
where
to come
can-
back
where
with
can little
something,
kids
hold on, for
swim right now?
1.8, and we told them that's what we're gonna do, and I
Yes.
thought that's what we had
I
decided.
agree. Where
And then they
even-
come back with the redrawing, and it's 2.5 million.
Right.
And it's the same group.
Because we kicked the can down the road so long, yeah, prices went up. We kept
So what is it
just
now?
lagging. We kept lagging. We never took action. We kept kicking the can down the road. So quite naturally, prices are going to go up if we do that. Just like if we do it now, whatever price that they have given us now, if we keep kicking the can down
And
the
what
road,
is that- and what is
6
that
months
price?
from now, 6 months from now, the price is going to be different again.
But the price, they just never said it might be 2.5 million. And we won't
he's
have the money
saying-
for that.
He's saying that he's got a range that they gave him. Am I correct, Mr. Administrator?
Yes.
They have given him a range. We have to operate within that range. You know what I mean? So when you look at the fund, it brings us mighty close to even the top of the range. And you're gonna go back, you can go back later and pick up the boardwalk. We're not saying don't kill them. We can go back and we can finish. It's not even finishing the projects at the golf course, because the way I understand, all the projects at the golf course will be made. This will be over. This is what he said that he does not need. This is not something that we scratched off a line item.
One thing, I think one thing we all are missing also is that the aquatic center is something that the elderly can benefit from. It's something that can bring revenue to the county. The boardwalk will not bring no revenue to the county, period. We all know that. The boardwalk is a fixture. People can walk and do some exercise. Everything that we do should not be about money, but money got to be a part of everything we do. The golf course made money. We took a leap of faith, and it has ballooned awesomely. If Mr. Ducer, the great job he is doing, if he feel that in life we all know there's needs and wants. If Mr. Ducer said that, okay, the thing that I need at the golf course, I got, I can get. Now things I can want, I can wait on it. That's why he waived the $400,000, because he looked at the needs and wants. We all know that if he needed that money, he was gonna say, look, I gotta have it. I cannot deviate the $400,000.
He wants to deal
But also with the boardwalk would not bring no kind of revenue. Our young kids, we worry about, we tend to fail that our youth is our future. And our youth, have to have something to do. We all know that there's no water system. We cannot tell our kids, hey, we got no lake, we got no pool, but you can go walk on the boardwalk. That's not a attraction that a 10-year-old want to do. Like I said, we know, like Steve said, we're not gonna lose this money. Yeah, and it's hard for us to realize, hard for me to realize. 8 years ago, we had no kind of money we have it now. Now we got money, now we don't know how to spend it. But say we didn't have no money, we had all these ideas. Now we got money in our lap, and now we're fighting on what we want to do. We need to look at the necessities that is in our face right here, right now. That's what matters. Right here, right now. Not 2026, not 2027. If we can have this aquatic center completed by the spring, the buzz is in the air, the spring, summer, but the buzz is in the air, would be in the air like it is right now with the golf course. People in Sherrall had left Sherrall at Hartsville to come to Marlboro County to play golf.
Information, Mr. Chairman.
To play golf, to enjoy the golf facility and the facility we have. People had coming from North Carolina, people coming from Sherrall, Hartsville, Dillon to come to play in Marlboro County. If when the aquatic center come, the same people go bring their kids and say, look, mama, y'all take little Johnny and little Tony over there to swing while I play golf. That's revenue. But they gonna say, look, mama, take little Johnny and let's take a walk across the boardwalk. They ain't gonna do that. And y'all make great points also. If Southern Black can come in and say, okay, this is, about this meeting, this is what we got. And if we come up under budget. Okay, we as a council can go right back to that's what we got a fund balance for. If Southern said, look, I don't need a 350,000, I just need 100. Mr. West, we got $100,000 you can give the boardwalk the completion. That's his job, that we get paid for. But we can go ahead and move on now on the 350 and tell the architects, look, we ready to move. We ready to move. Cause the longer we wait, the longer it gonna take.
Point of information.
I still don't have any problem with Mr.
Point of
Clyburn.
information on the floor.
Go ahead, sir.
You gotta recognize it, I'm sorry.
Recognize.
I got a question for the chairman. Is Mr. Deuces trying to deal with a situation at the golf course that he described as an eyesore, which would be in that pool? Is that what I understood you to say?
Yes.
And by doing that, he is saying that he's got everything he needs. These are the extra funds that are available that you can use towards that, and that will indeed take care of the problem that I have at the golf course. Is that what he's saying?
Not exactly that. What he said is that there are some things, you mentioned the sand traps and the bunkers. There are some things he would like to see, but they could wait, because one of the more important things is that old pool there that he really wants to see gone from right there, because that was supposed to be the event lawn that when we used the ballroom and the event lawn there. But we talked about that. We went over there and met with them. And so that is really an eyesore for him and for the plans, for the whole golf course. So that is part of the golf course, that whole event lawn. So that's a part of that whole facility. So you're not really just taking away from that facility, you are doing that event lawn as well. Now, but to your point, yes, there's some things that he wanted to see done, but that he said they could wait until we get either more funds or something else happens. But also some of that money is, for the parking lot, he said, we could, instead of repaving the parking lot, we could actually, resurface it, and that saves $100,000. For contingency, there's $100,000 in contingency that is just kind of there, and then we don't really actually need that if we go ahead and reallocate that, because you take away from that parking lot situation. There's also with the putt-putt, he said that was like $35,000. That he would need for that. That's what he has allocated for that. And because I don't think it's supposed to be like a whole putt-putt thing, but just a little portion of it right by, up from where the pool's supposed to be. Now, the pickleball courts, we do have some money, and we were looking at other things with the park, exactly. Now, I think that was supposed to be $60,000. The park, we have $97,000 in that park to do the pickleball courts with. But then we take the other $37,000, and we were gonna do the resurfacing at Clio, at Bennett Park. So we do have some money to spread around and to actually improve out there some of the things that he wants. It's just that the projects that he wants most, he can get if we only take $400,000. He can do some of those projects that he wants most. And that is to get that golf cart path. There are certain parts of it that need to be retouched and redone, especially after you do the irrigation, which we already had the funds for that. That's already done. Well, not done, but it's already allocated and started. They've already started that project. And it'll be done in a couple of months. That, and then the parking lot, he already has that. And so this is in excess of those two projects. And I think if you look at the putt-putt thing, we can actually fit that in there as well and still take the $400,000. Now, I don't want to be quoted on that, but it's right in that range where we can do that as well.
Good, Bert.
I'm gonna stick to my same point. I don't see any problem waiting till we haven't talked about the golf course in many, many months and stuff. And we come in here tonight, most everybody sitting around this table, did not know anything about we were gonna divert these 3 projects and over $1 million into the pool. But I wanna know, for citizens of Marlboro County, I don't know whether we're talking about $2.1 million for a pool, or if it's gonna be 2.6 or 2.7, and you'll have that information in maybe a couple of weeks, maybe even, you said maybe even a week. But I think we need to have something permanent. I mean, I understand we got $1 million we wanna put towards it, and if it takes all that, we'll put towards it. But I also understand that we need to know whether we're talking about $2 million or 2.6, it could be 2.8. And I don't know that waiting 2 weeks or 30 days till you can get something back from the pool company, somebody we hadn't had any discussion on in months and months. I'd like to have an answer from them. Where are we at? You know, that's all I got to say. I just don't think that we come in here tonight and decide we're going. Most of us that hadn't heard anything about this is we're going to divert $1 million into the pool project, something we hadn't even discussed in months and months. But we've been waiting on these people to come back with an answer to you. And you say they could have you an answer in a week. It could be 2 weeks. I don't know that that's a lot of time for us as long as we've been waiting on this thing. And that's not going to have any bearing on whether this pool, we get the project completed, be open next spring or not. 2 weeks is not going to kill the project.
But we receive electronic copies of our packets. And if we read and engage ourselves before we come into the meetings, then we be informed. So there was a question, you could have contacted our administrator and said, look, I know we're going to be discussing this, A, B, C, and D. It's not up for you to come in and be surprised by what's on the agenda. It's up to you to be informed about what's going on in the agenda. I think that's what has been happening. We come in meetings and deer in the headlight because this is the first time we're seeing things. But if we prepare ourselves before the meeting and engage these things, then we can come here and be ready to move across through some things. I understand those concerns about, but if we have a range, if our range is 1.9 to 2.2 million, and that's the range that we're sticking to, if they come back with another number, then we understand how to walk them back to the number that we're more comfortable with. I don't see the need to be able to continue to say, okay, let's kick this down the road for another 30 days when we can just allocate the money, and we know the money that we have allocated towards the aquatic center, and we make them work within our range. Celebread presented us with some schematics and some information on next week. I don't think that has a big impact on, it's good to have, but I don't think it has a big impact on this particular measure that we're discussing right now.
Time to vote.
I gotta need a motion.
I restate the
You
motion.
made a motion in a second.
You already got a motion to say before you just started the discussion.
Okay, that's right. No, it's been so long ago.
Motion dead. I restate the motion.
Well, restate the motion,
Had
sir.
a second.
I say we give it a couple weeks.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and been restated, and there's a second. And we done the discussion.
You didn't deal with the first motion. You didn't deal with the first motion.
The motion been first been made in second. And then had
Restated the
discussion.
motion. Didn't
And
change
then
it,
Dr.
just
Johnson
restated
just restated the motion.
Okay. Second.
Okay? All right, all right. Hey, we
Wait,
clear now?
once we vote on this, we can't come back. I mean, anybody want to withdraw the motion?
So when we
Give-
voted, when we vote, you say we can't go back.
Yes, you can. You want to. This very next meeting.
Mr. Attorney, question. If, we vote on this, motion, we vote on this, thing, can we revisit at any time?
Did I understand somebody made a motion to amend the motion?
No, no,
We just restated the motion.
Yeah, restated the
I can
motion.
answer that.
It was to vote.
If it's the same exact amount, then it would have to be revisited with a 5-3 vote. But if we change the amount because of what we find out, if it's a little bit more, a little bit less, as long as it's not the same exact amount, it'd be a different motion.
okay.
It'd be a different,
Everything will be different.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I withdraw my motion. In lieu of receiving additional reports, I withdraw the motion.
I second that.
Okay. All right. All in favor of Dr. Johnson withdrawing his, motion? Is second?
It's dead.
This is dead.
Dead? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I
Yes,
make
sir.
a motion that we table E?
Okay. Any discussion?
I will
You
be
not
able
hearing
to,
none?
I just want to state to the council, as soon as I get information from them, narrowing down the price, even if it calls for a special meeting with the price, hopefully Mr. Blair will have some information as well, but I will be able to get you some definite information as soon as possible. And after this meeting, I will let them know that I have directed from my county council that it's time for you to give me something that I need to use right now. Our next meeting is September 9th, but we may be, I'm sorry, 10th, but if it comes before then, I'll let you know.
Okay.
And we can call a special meeting, is that right?
Doing after our regular council meeting on the 10th of September. The board's been made and second to table, item number of the new business C. All in favor? We table it. All opposed? Okay. 7-1. So we've been tabled until the 10th of September. Appointment to boards and commissions. Do we have any in the boards and the commission? Yes. Okay.
I think Ms.
I
Lawson
thought I
had
had
something.
right, there was a portion for me to do some,
You gonna
I'm
do
sorry,
that?
That's
I see it. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I see the
All right, there was no boards, appointment to boards of commission, acceptance of bids.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I think Ms. Lawson had something to mention about the
Appointment to
board.
boards?
If you want to-
I do have something to say about, I've made a comment on a sheet of paper about the boards and commission. Mr. Chair, I would like to ask that we appoint these boards and commissions, but we don't get any type reports from these boards and commissions. So I would like for us to consider that we, especially with this planning and zoning board, that at some point that some of these boards come and present to the council some meetings and some updates and things like that.
I want to respond to that. That planning and zoning board only meets when necessary. They only meet when there's a project coming in.
Right.
And so we haven't had anything lately for them to meet about. When we met the first time with Mr. McNeil and I, it was an introductory meeting just to kind of get them in the same room, fill them out, let them know who we were, introduce ourselves, they introduce themselves to us. We talked about some different things and their disposition on types of projects, and that was all. But we haven't had anything that actually went to them for them to report back to us. Now, some of the other boards and commissions, we may need to look at, but as far as that one, we haven't been able to get anything back from them.
But at
because of
least
that.
some of the boards need to, at least so we can have
Yes.
some update. We hear things in the community, but some of these come from these boards. I just think we sometimes need some minutes from these boards that they're meeting and what's going on in those meetings.
Okay.
All right, accepting of the bids. We're in bids out?
We have any
Okay.
bids.
All right, reports, policy and ordinance committee report, Ms. Lawson.
Yes, sir. We met on July 10th, those of us who were able to meet, and as of now, I'm still chair of that committee. And we put on the agenda several things that we discussed, and one being those ordinance. One was the ordinance concerning the nuisance policy. Two, ordinance number 556-A, ordinance number 454, and ordinance number 672. Now, what came up from this, and I do appreciate the administrator bringing the code enforcement officer, we talked about the nuisance ordinance because there was a lot of concerns from citizens about these overgrown buildings, overgrown sites. And in that, we asked the administrator we already have this policy in place. We instructed him to follow the policies that we have because that nuisance ordinance has been in effect since 2004. We have not been following those ordinances. Understand that we've been, according to our report from the enforcement code officer, a lot of kickback has been coming because of the magistrate probably not wanting to enforce the ordinance and not really wanting to do.
Well, it's just difficult for
Sometimes difficult, but you had some projects that we have already put in place from that meeting. You told us about some projects that's already, some eyesores that you have put some things in place.
Right.
And
those were only, and I just want to add, I was going to talk about my administrative report, but
Okay.
that was we were only going to enforce those things if we got complaints.
Right.
in the beginning, we weren't going out hunting for different properties.
Right, but-
It was just whenever we got complaints in, and the most egregious ones. Now, if somebody just had grass up to here, that's one thing, but if somebody's house is overgrown and you got, you know, drug addicts, drug activity, or you have possum and that kind of stuff coming in and out of and other animals, then after a complaint and we see that, then we would give actually the enforcement based on the ordinance itself, strictly by the ordinance.
So, I'm just gonna ask this question. People can make a complaint by doing what?
So people can make a complaint by calling, you know, up to the office, and they'll speak to the director of operations, who will then notify that code enforcement officer. He works directly under the director of operations, and he will let them know. Or you can go to the code enforcement office in the courthouse and speak to Mr. Sheriff himself.
Okay, so that's gonna be an easy process. Then the other thing that came in the meeting, we talked about, did some little information about the director of the animal shelter, and we discussed that kind of briefly about that, making sure we get with Humane Society.
Correct.
And we did that, and then we had some lengthy discussion about a lot of things. But basically, let y'all know that we are meeting in order that we will try to get these ordinance and these policies updated, because some of them are 30 and 40 years old, and we're hoping to get some more meetings, because the policies have to change or ordinance have to change. It takes 3 readings, and with those 3 readings, we want to be ready to have these things in place by January 2025.
That's correct, and I just want to add to that, that nuisance ordinance is kind of old itself. And so, it's 20 years old, and there may be some things we need to look at as far as that's concerned as well, so that we can enforce it properly. Maybe some of the numbers may be off, maybe some of the different processes may be off, but we do want to look at that ordinance as well, so we'll be looking at that in the next meeting.
Thank you. And hopefully, I sent an email, if the 22nd, which is Thursday, works for all of you, let me know. If not, send me an email, and we will reschedule for something early next week, because I know people have things to do, but send me an email if you're not able to, as at least 4, 5 persons not able to be in that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. West, you up?
Mr. Chairman, council members, you have before you the report for the month ending July 31st, 2024. This is only 1 month into this fiscal year. Our revenues for that month, $993,343 in comparison to $322,361 for that same month in the prior year. Revenue for July 24 is significantly higher because of the timing of collections from state intergovernmental revenues. General fund expenditures for the month ending July 31, 2024 totaled $1,149,981 of a $14,748,543 budget, or 7.8% budget year to date. General fund expenditures totaled $846,599 for the same month ending July 31 of 23. In conclusion, revenues are significantly higher because of timing difference. Expenditures are higher overall in comparison to last year's. I'll continue to monitor the reports and communicate any changes as the fiscal year progresses. I don't know if you have any specific questions. I'd be glad to, address those at this time.
I don't have any specific questions, because we talked about it in the Finance Committee meeting, and one of the things that I did put on the table, and I am going to say again, thank you so much for your report, I really do. But I say to the committee, to the members of this body, we do need to be sure that we are really aware of how we're spending monies. For some reason, and I thank you for agreeing that that will be done. I do like to see in our finance committee sometimes, most times, POs, because I don't know what's being spent. We don't know what's being spent. We don't know what's in most of those accounts, and I know all of them don't belong to us. But if there was true transparency, we won't have a lot of these problems. So anyone who's concerned about, well, we can't see this, we can't see that, that means I put it like this. If everybody who have all these accounts, they have something, if they too fearful for us council members to know just how our money's being spent, there must be something to hide. Because when nothing to hide, people wouldn't have any problem. But I just really like to see more transparency. But I thank you for what you're doing.
You have the report on the projects through July 31st, 2024. Those are for the capital funds, 40, 55, 70, 72, 73, and 75. The report provides a listing of payments according to budgets as approved for these projects. And of course, these payments extend back several years. So this is a project-to-date accounting on all of these various funds. And certainly, if you have any questions regarding a particular activity or fund or expenditure, just let me know, and I'll be glad to give more clarity.
So we're about 300,000 more right now this time, spent more this year than we did last year.
That's correct.
Is there any particular reason?
It's so early in the year. One of the things that can happen, you can have a quarterly payment that just happened to hit in July. You pay that, and then 2 months later, of course, your expenditures are actually diminishing. So you could have just even like the revenues, for example, we had a state shared revenue payment of over $600,000, and that made it look like our revenues are significantly higher than last year, but it's really a timing matter. I think that is probably the case with the expenditures as well.
So really, we need to be monitoring some things more closely. That's what it looks like to me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody got any more questions, Mr. West? Thank you, West. Mr. Clyburn.
Good evening, again. I have a few things I want to talk about. First of all, recreation. Football, soccer, and cheerleading sign-ups. You know, they've been going on, and they'll go on throughout this week. And we can call 843-479-5632 for the public that wants to register on your children for, again, football, soccer, and we do have cheerleading this year for the first time. And we've had very encouraging results. Football, we have over 120 that have registered for football this year. And we're not still sure about the community leagues because we need a little bit more than that, but we have other counties, Chesterfield, Dillon, Marion, we have Darlington that want to play with us. So we will have a full schedule, unlike what happened last year where we couldn't really get other counties to schedule us. So we already have that in place, and that's looking really encouraging. We have over 180 in soccer. That's up as well from last year. And we have about 70 cheerleaders, which for the first year, that's wonderful. And we do have some cheerleading coaches that we're looking at getting. Deshauna, I know she was looking at helping us with that. And we're going to expand our girls programs. We're going to look at the next cycle that we can get in volleyball. We're going to do that. And then we're also looking at track and field for the girls and the boys. Saturday, September 7th, there will be a football jamboree for the county. And that's going to be sponsored by T-Mobile. We're not sure where it's going to be yet. We're looking at hopefully doing it at the school, but we may have to be at the park behind the building here on Carroll Field, but we're looking at trying to get to school. But we are going to have a jamboree September 7th, and I'll let you know as soon as we get more information on that. Voter registration building. We are still scheduled to move by September 1st. It may be a couple of days before that. The air is there, on in there. And I want to mention, I had some questions about the roof and the leaks in there. I know some of you have gone in there, you've seen the wall in the back right room that had all that damage there. Well, that damage was there when I first got here, and it's the same damage. Well, we fixed it. The roof wasn't the problem, it was just that the old damage from the past roof leaks was still there. Well, it was fixed, and it was fixed before Debbie. And all the rain we got, we had no leaks and everything in there, so it's in good shape. That roof is fixed, and we will be operable in time for the special election, the early voting for the special election in Blenheim, which will be September 17th, and we'll be ready to move. We'll be there before then, before the 2nd. So that project is on schedule, not only time-wise, but financially, it's on schedule. Everything's good with that. I did have in here the nuisance ordinance. I want to reiterate, we've been enforcing it. However, we're not trying to do a hard enforcement in the beginning. We're going to go out patrolling. We're not going to go out patrolling. We're only going to get complaints. And we field the complaints, and we do the most egregious cases, as I described, when the yards are way overgrown and it's affecting your neighbors. If it's just ugly, that's one thing. But if it's affecting your neighbors where you have, health problems such as mosquitoes, you got a swamp out there, you got, growth everywhere, you have drug activity in an abandoned house, those are things that we're looking at enforcing, but only after we get complaints.
Excuse me, may I say something?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
about those buildings, that's those commercial
That includes the commercial buildings.
that's in our neighborhoods,
Right.
that's been there for years and is just growing up?
That includes commercial buildings.
Thank
We
you.
do have, one of the complaints that we did receive was a commercial building, and we did send notice on that one
Because
as
people
well.
have come to this council telling us about that.
Well, those are complaints.
Okay.
They came to council, we logged that as a complaint, and we went, we looked at it, and one of them, I believe was a trailer that had tires and stuff. We sent the violation notice on that one because it was really bad. A lot of mosquitoes, a lot of water out there, and old tires and stuff. And then the other one, on that road where they complained about, we did send notice on that one as well. So we did heed those complaints that we got in the council meeting. And then we've actually spoken to those people that complained. We went and visited them and talked to them about them as well. So we've done that. I want to talk about the DSS building. We all know that we've had some problems. Those are our buildings. We maintain those buildings. And by state law, we do provide space for DSS as well as other agencies. Well, with DSS building, the bathroom, the ADA part of the bathroom, the handicap stall had some things in the floor that was preventing its use. And so that will be fixed by the first week of September. The roof and the leaking, I wasn't here, but I hear that roof was done just a few years ago, and it's still under warranty. As soon as we get the warranty sorted out, we're gonna go ahead and get that bidded out as well. So, and I did speak with the director over there, and she told me some of the things that they had going on, and she's very happy about the fact that we are moving forward, and so we're gonna get that taken care of as well. TextMyGov, that is a service that the city uses for text messaging all of their citizens during emergencies, during different things, but we've already signed up for that. I know
Okay.
some of the council members have requested that we do that as a way of communicating to our residents. It'll be free for everyone in the county, and we register for that, but that will only be used for emergencies or for certain things that we really want to get the word out to the citizens that may be happening, not just to say hello to everyone, but that's something that we are implementing, working with Steve, not here anymore, but working with Steve, we've got to implement it. It'll be about 6 weeks before it's active. And so we will have a way for the citizens to register for that for free. Storm update, I do want to give Mr. Cassidy a chance to give a brief update on the storm that we had last week. He does have some things he want to just give the council real quick.
Chairman of the Council. When I spoke to you last, we were in the preparation phase of Hurricane Debbie. Won't speak on that, won't speak on the response. I think everybody pretty well saw how the response went. Our preparation phase went really well. Now we're starting in our recovery phase. So basically, we're starting the phases where we look at damage, compile the data, submit the data to state and federal government. for that to be evaluated. So what we found so far, we've seen 101 houses impacted in some way, from they were touched by water to up to having significant water inside the living space. We've had 15 of those houses were classified as major damage by FEMA's definition. One business with major damage by FEMA's definition. Some of the other things that we experienced just under 10 3/4 inches of rain over a 5-day period. Wind gusts from 20 to 25 miles an hour over a 48-hour period. We sheltered a small amount of folks, small considering our population, for several days. Got everybody back out to a safe place. Damages wise, besides outside of homes, we saw a significant amount of roads washed out, a significant amount of flooded roads, trees down. We also had several roads that had to be closed, and we had several dams other than the dams that recently breached. We had 3 different dams that had to be evaluated during the process at different points in time for overtopping or being suspected potentially to breach. Fortunately, none of those breached. Got any questions I can answer on this? That way that for you.
I'm just thankful that you did give us an update, because I do know we have to do a recovery report. But I'm going to say to you, thank you for doing that, but I got some things that I'm going to point out in what lessons we've learned from this storm. I'm sure you're probably thinking of some, but we should learn some lessons from this storm to be better prepared. And not just for you, but for us as a county. So thank you.
Mr. Cassidy, those 101 houses that you found, were those reported to you, or was that your assessment going out?
So some of those were reported in. Probably of the 101, probably 70% of those were in areas that we already knew to evaluate. Some are, some of the ones that folks are already familiar with that flood, or some that just were on, that were on our radar to check on. And then probably the remainder were from calls. And as we're getting them, if we're getting calls, we're getting a significant amount of calls. The general public a lot of times doesn't know what we can report, what we can't. But we've gotten a fair amount of calls on stuff that are from this storm, but we are still getting a few that are from the storm.
What number should they call?
So they can call our communication center at 843-479-1111.
111 what?
1111.
Okay, 1111.
Yes.
Is that also the emergency contact number too?
That is an administrative line.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. I just want to finish before I sit down. I do want to address the citizens about one other issue. And before I do that, I want to say we have flooding all over this county in different areas. Blenheim, as we know, it flooded a lot during this past storm. We even had a lot of flooding over in McCall. We had some areas flooded out in Clio, and here in Bennettsville, where you had water that damaged the sewer system. Mm-hmm. And so we know that, and then over there behind the sheriff's office in that neighborhood, we had a lot of flooding over there. And so we know all around this county, we have that issue, and a lot of it is due to the poor drainage we have in this county. And that's why we are looking at getting some grants from the Rural Infrastructure Authority to do a drainage plan. But again, these are things that have been around for decades, and they take years to fix. Well, the time to start fixing them is now. And we have to fix them right now, but it is going to take some time we have to get the study first and then the grant. But we're looking at getting a lot of the drainage throughout the county fixed. And a lot of those things have been neglected. But I want to talk about Crooked Creek for a minute. and the Shady Rest and Richardson Park areas. And I want to address the citizens in those areas. We're doing everything we can to work with the city, the state, our delegation, and federal agencies. You know, we've had some of our delegation come and visit. You know, Senator Malloy came down and visited. We went out to Richardson Park. We looked at some different solutions to some of the situations that we have. Most of them are long-term. And I want the citizens to know that we're not ignoring this issue. Council knows that's really almost all we talk about sometimes. And that's some of the things that we have been looking for solutions. But quite frankly, we don't have the money or the equipment to actually go clean out Crooked Creek. We can't just go clean it out. Not only that, we don't have the authority to go do that, some of that stuff. So we're looking at ways of getting that done. We want the citizens to know we're not just sitting on our hands waiting for someone else to do it. We've been constantly contacting the city and the state, and they've been really willing to work with us on that. And so, you know, together, we're searching for solutions and the money to implement these solutions. And as we learn more about the solutions, we will be more in contact with the community. I know we have a meeting on August the 29th, that Thursday at 6 p.m. It's a community meeting by the Lake Authority, but they will be discussing that as well. And it's a community meeting that citizens can come out to and voice their concerns. But I want to make sure that the citizens know we are doing what we can. We're a county, but we're not just going to sit back and say we can't do anything. We're trying. It's just going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of money to get that thing fixed. And it's something that's been around for, 50 years? I know people have said, you know, they remember 40 years ago, and longer than that, being flooded out down there. And so it's something that, it's been past time to get something done about it. And yes, it's been neglected for a long time, but it's time for us to do something, and we are doing something about it. But I just wanted to address that issue because I don't want us to seem like we're silent on that thing. We're not silent, it's just that we don't have all the solutions right now. Now, I know I talked about a lot of different things here. Any questions from the council?
I have something, sir. You brought up the fact that what I was going to talk about is for what our lesson learned from this. You talked about now we're going to have something with TextMyGov in place, is that right?
Yes.
We also need to be utilizing that digital sign that we have out there. Make sure information is posted for, not just for the time of the shelter, but and for the animals and for everyone involved. We need to develop some volunteers. We need to develop a list of volunteers. There were a lot of people coming out pre-phase and post-phase about wanting to help. That's one of the reasons why Miss Betty Jo got something, because Red Cross stayed in touch with her. The storm, the rain may be over, the flooding is still affecting people's house. With the sewer back up, I saw that myself in different areas, not just in my own area, but just in other areas of the county. We also need to make sure that we do look at, with this council, we do need to look at creating a disaster resilience fund so that we can be able to help people with like those basic supplies, the tarp over their house, maybe some materials such as, some type supplies, not just cleaning. I know that y'all gave away food, but really and truly, those things like the cleaning supplies and tarp and plywood is gonna help. Not to say we can become free for all. There has to be something in place. But I do know that we do need to move from being reactive to proactive when it comes to these situations. So I do appreciate you doing something, but I do now know that we need to be capitalizing on volunteers who really want to work with us in this county, not just because of it happened this one time. People want to give their phone numbers, they do want to help, but not just the Bennettsville area, all areas of the county, because the flooding happened everywhere in this county. When we got the sandbags, all the areas need to have the sandbags, and then they form their own volunteers to help. So, thank you for bringing that point out.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone, any other questions?
Yeah, I do. With the standing water that we've got from the floods, and I know it's pretty close to 9 o'clock, but all this standing water here, it has created a big nuisance with mosquitoes. And if you want to hear orchestra, come to my house. You can listen to the frogs. I'm telling you, it is really bad. Is there anything that anybody know of that we, you know, it used to be a truck that drives around with the
Yeah.
exterminating for mosquitoes, but
Now, I don't know if
we
we have a
need
spray
that
program,
service.
but, you know, I'll be speaking with, I'm just glad you brought it up, I'll speak with the city. A lot
It's
of
not
areas
just
in
the city.
I know it's not just in the
City
city, but I'm
county.
just saying, we don't have one. If they have one, that might be something we can help contract to go other places. So I'm gonna find out about that.
After Florence, the county did, or I don't know if the state allocated funds for that, but there was one that went around the county, after Florence, I think it was. There might be some records, some
Right.
history for you can-
Okay.
And then
Thank
one question, sir, but what about, no, I want to cut you off, I'm sorry. A lot of people have talked about the debris that's left in the county. I know the city did go around, they put lime out for the people because they had
Yes.
that problem. Can the county do for people who have the debris that they can't burn, can't get rid of? How can our public works
So-
department be utilized?
Excuse me. So, we're aware of the debris. We've
Okay.
had so many trees that went down, and again, we know that we're understaffed in that area. A lot of these counties have 15 to 20 people in that public works department. We have very few compared to these other areas, but we have a lot of areas in this county because of the soft ground that a lot of trees fell down, a lot of debris, and they're working. They're working, and they have spent a lot of overtime hours as well, going out and clearing some of the roads, and then some of the debris that's on the side of the road. You know, that's a situation where we are asking citizens who can to take that debris to the convenience site, or if they can burn it.
So those are options. They can take it to the landfill or what? Or they can burn it. I know you have to get that burn code
Right,
before you can
right.
burn within the
And
county.
I'm going to brush up on that a little bit about
All right,
burning the debris.
all right.
And we'll make an announcement to the citizens. But yes, we recognize that there's a lot of debris, and it's just something we have to get to when we can get to it. I mean, we just have so many roads. We have roads that are washed all the way out that are impassable, even right now, and we're still looking at getting those things fixed. We did get a lot of that, a lot of rock and a lot of crush and run and a lot of the different things for the base of those roads, and we're out there working right now, putting those things out there. So it's gonna take some time. We know some of those areas, and a gentleman talked a little earlier about the tile and some of the areas. That's another thing that we're gonna look at with the ditches. We can't just do one area. We gotta look at a plan and get all those areas done, so we don't just satisfy one portion of that street in one person's yard. That water has to go somewhere. And if we solve it right there and don't solve it down the street or get it to a major waterway, then we can't really solve it. So we're looking at all those different things that we can do to solve not only the debris, but then the standing water as well.
The reason I say this is because it is a health issue with these mosquitoes that's taking around stuff, and we need to take that very serious to mitigate that as much as possible on that, because it is terrible in every area of the county.
But the question I have is burning. Can people burn their debris?
Yeah, we got an ordinance in place. You'd have to look at that ordinance and see what you can do.
Yeah,
It
what
says
you
you
can't
can
do.
call. you
Yeah,
can
but
call
I wouldn't go out and
vegetation.
say to burn it tonight. I mean, I'd say
No, I'm
we'd
not
check
saying
our
that.
ordinance and.
Yeah,
and
let's
haul it
review
to
that
the-
so we
that's
can
what I
let
mean.
people
Yeah.
know that.
That's why I don't want to answer and
Right.
tell you something wrong about when and how they can burn, but there is an ordinance that addresses that. I want to be more familiar with that before I give you a
And
complete
what
answer
can
on
they
that.
take to the landfill then? So make sure, let's get that straightened out too.
So I would ask Mr. Campbell to be more, to give a little information about that as far as the landfill.
So we should be using our regular convenience sites. Anything except for regular household trash goes to our convenience sites. It's the same protocol that we've used for the rest of the year. Nothing has changed there. Our regular household trash is picked up and dropped into our dumpsters, and regular, furniture and things of that sort goes to our convenience sites. All of that is still the same protocol.
I know we've got some calls about people wanting to take regular household trash to the convenience site, but that is for your garbage cans, but the convenience site is for other trash.
Well, down leaves, limbs and trees and
Right.
cut up
Right.
stuff like that. Where
All that stuff I'm almost certain that you can just take it to your regular convenience sites. Let me double check that and see exactly what you're doing with that, but I'm certain that's.
Take it to where?
Our regular
Convenience sites.
Convenience, a tree? Yeah, you can take the stump to a tree?
I would, the ordinance allows for certain things, so I would look at the ordinance and before you, I mean, the ordinance allows I don't know, if it may be something that allows you to burn, I don't have the ordinance now.
can
but
review it this
I would
week
look
when we
at
look
the
at it.
ordinance and find out what it is and then just go from there, that would be the easiest thing to do.
Go ahead, Susan.
In the county, you can burn like tree limbs and things like that. There is a telephone number, it's called permission to burn something. You have to call that number, give your address and all, and they let you know if you can burn that day. But you can burn tree limbs and all in the county.
I utilize that number too. Okay.
You done, Mr. Clyburn?
I'm done, if you're done.
We thank you for your report. I'm not gonna go down the line for council member, but if any council member got anything to say, the floor is yours. Okay,
May I say something? I'll be quick with mine.
okay.
I would like for us, Mr. Chair, that we look at trying to develop what we call a volunteer form by looking at what other counties such as Florence, Sumter, Darlington, and Jasper County have. They have a form where if you want to be on the board or commission or want to volunteer, it provides address and all those kinds of things. It will help the members of the Economic Development Board because he'll have some ideas, some people wanting to volunteer. But when we have these situations from now on, we will have some idea about people who really want to be a part of boards and commission. And there's counties out there that do have that form. They have one form, whether you want to volunteer or whether you want to be on the board. Just something that the staff will take a look at it with different other boards and then maybe present us with something that we can decide whether we want that or not as a suggestion, not to tell anybody what to do, but a suggestion. Then also to ask that I see this, and I'm thankful that you have this about in the audience, but the Smithsonian is coming to Marlboro County. I do know that we need to be really pushing this. This is a great exhibit, but it's not just for Marlboro County, it's going to be all across the state. Hopefully, Ms. McQueen and their group, they met today. Hopefully somebody can give us a 5-minute presentation on how important it is for us to be involved in that because that's going to bring many, many visitors to Marlboro County. So hopefully we can have her tell us a little bit more about this and we be all in for this and have it on our marquee and push that. I am grateful that you brought up about the Election Commission moving, but I also would like to ask that because they asked us at the conference that we be involved with our Election Commission by making sure that our voters are aware of things concerning this election. We all know that this is an important election and there may be some concerns, but since this is in a new building, not sure whether we're going to have a grand opening or whatever, but so people get familiar with that building. But I would like to suggest that we do have something, maybe have her come and give us a 5-minute presentation on the building. I know that the 17th is an election there, but I know that we'll be having some things going on too. So just as a point of information. And the last point I want to make to our countywide cleanup, I noticed that the county has taken the realm of trying to do things with the city of Bennettsville, but there's more cities and towns who are saying that they're not a part of the cleanup anymore. I would like for us to reconsider making sure that we have a countywide cleanup, have our own day or our own week of having people to pick up tires and debris, because we're missing that opportunity. A lot of counties now are not participating, out of the townships other than Bennettsville are not participating. Just for information, I just like to see us have a big countywide cleanup, not necessarily partnering with the city of Bennettsville. I do know that I saw a flyer where we're partnering on the 28th with the city of Bennettsville, but Marlboro County is a county. Those other towns need to be aware that we're talking about everybody in Marlboro County. That's just a suggestion.
Anybody got anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Motion been made second. All in favor? Adjourn.